Hello there, my name is Cindy Ballas and my father is the inventor of the Sacrowedgy. Now, the way he came to develop this concept started many years ago, back in the late 50s actually. A friend of his was an osteopath, and with my dad being a retired football coach and trainer, it was only natural that they occasionally would talk about some of the physical problems and ailments that some of the athletes would have. And of course the lower back is the most important part of an athlete, the hips rather, in the middle of the body. If you're out of balance in the hips, or real tight, you're going to be out of balance everywhere and not really be able to perform to your best. So what he did is take this osteopath suggestion, and it was so simple. He did it for years, and all it was is he just said, "Coach, just hold the sacrum." And now the sacrum, of course, is the middle of the hips, the middle of the body. And he would get them on the training table if they had any type of low back issues, leg pain, hip pain, back pain. Get them on the training table and just do just like the osteopath suggested and hold the sacrum. Now the problem here is that in order to really get the results that he wanted, he had to hold it a good 20 minutes. And of course that's a long time to do that, but he said during that 20 minutes in his hand, it felt almost like a war zone. He could feel the quivering, the resistance of the muscles, and then for some reason around that 20-minute mark, all of that just subsided. The hips would relax and everything would just kind of naturally let go. And of course, being a trainer and a coach, it was his next step would be to take the player and let them just take their weight and hang from like a door sill or something, and while their body weight was dropped down, he would tape the hips if they were really having some problems. So all of these common sense things that he did instinctively, then we've taken to the next level working with therapists. So after doing this for years, and his athletes would follow him to work or wherever he was and say, "Coach, can you do that again?" That's the only thing that ever really helped. So he could be at work or anywhere, and he'd have somebody on a coffee table, a kitchen table, a work table. He'd have him there with his hand under him like that. And finally, one of the guys wanted him to come help his wife, and that's really that's what prompted him to say there's got to be an easier way to do this. So it took him about 10 years actually to develop what would mimic the hand. Now, the hand would isolate, cradle, and elevate only the sacrum. And after a while he realized that there's a very distinct difference in our anatomy. So the male sacrum is a little bit more narrow, a little bit longer. The female sacrum shorter and wider. The width, of course, being for the birth canal. Now, exception to this fit sometimes will be a taller woman with a more narrow frame. She's going to be more comfortable on the male version. Now, in the beginning, all we were doing really is just lying there and relaxing. This very simple device actually won second place at a big inventors contest up in New York many years ago. It was a worldwide competition, and this very simple device, we didn't have the elevation pad. It was the same color. It was very crude instructions. I mean, we were just in the very beginning infancy of this concept, and it took the silver award. They were just fascinated with the possibilities, I suppose. And over the last 20 years, working with such a variety of therapists that have used it, instead of just lying there and relaxing, which is still getting results, we've developed a series of routines and stretches. And the most important muscle, I believe, for the therapist to access is the psoas muscle. Now, over the years, we've realized the importance of this very large muscle, and a technique that therapists are taught is to go in internally. Well, what my dad and some other therapists have come up with is, while the sacrum is neutral and slightly elevated, you just take the heel of the hand and pulse in the top of the thigh. And this way you get a nice gentle release in the psoas muscle. These are really the three major muscles we're working with. The psoas muscle starting at the back, ending in the front. Of course, the piriformis muscle, if it gets in a bind, it's going to get involved with the sciatic nerve. And then one that you don't see here is the sartorius, which is the longest muscle in the body, starting at the hip and ending below the knee. So once this torque happens in the pelvic girdle, you're going to have a lot of quite a variety of symptoms that are created. So we're ignoring the symptoms and we're concentrating on the muscle structure. Now you put support under the neck. It's very important that we use the weight of the head to drape over this neck support. We're trying to create balance at the top of the spine. So we now have the top and the bottom of the spine stabilized, and as your body just relaxes, these muscles now have a chance to start moving slowly and naturally back into place. This is not a quick fix. And for some people it really hurts in the beginning. You can really feel the stretch of these muscles that have been torqued out of place for quite some time. Now what we're going to do on this next step is actually go through 2 demonstrations. One will be just my routine of what I do by myself, because its original intent is just to be able to relax and the self-care aspect of it. And then we have a massage therapist, Yvonne Butler. She's been working with us for quite some time now. And we do workshops, and she teaches other therapists some of the routines that we've developed over the past good 20 years or so. Now I'm going to show you how I use the Sacrowedgy personally. First, you want to always be on your side first, and the placement is going to go right under the sacrum, right in the middle of the hips. So you're going to want to take the placement right in the middle with the pad, and then first come on it and keep your knees bent for a minute. Get the placement. Might take a little bit. It takes some getting used to for a lot of people in the beginning. But once you feel that curve match, you'll just keep your knees bent for a minute. First thing I like to do is just kind of rock side to side. This is easy to do by yourself. And depending on how much resistance is in there, you might even want to start with no elevation at all and then slowly build. Now normally I use 2 of those bases because I've been using it for 20 years. So after you rock side to side a little bit, just stretch out, just lay there and relax. I mean, you kind of get your own little routines. I like to rock it out a little bit. And then another one that's easy to do is the pelvic tilt. Now don't engage the shoulders, and just lower the small of your back to the table or to the floor. And then you're going to arch up again, and then lower the back again. Always do this pelvic tilt before you get off. After a while you kind of develop your own little routines with it to what suits you the best. I like to do the butterfly. It's where the bottom of the feet are together. Once again, you can just rock it out. It's another good one to do by yourself. Slowly straighten the legs, rock a little bit more. Of course, you might want to take it at a different speed. Everybody's different. This is what I do personally, but like I said, I've been using it for quite a while as well. Just lay there and relax a little while. And after a few minutes, if you want, you don't have to lay there 20 minutes solid, just lay in there. You can do some moves. I like to do this pelvic tilt again. And then before you always want to do the pelvic tilt before you get off. And then you always want to roll to your side. Take the Sacrowedgy out. And then you can do a stretch. Hold the knee down and stretch. Shoulder down. Go to the other side. Go completely to your side first. Hold. And then just stretch it out. And then whenever you get up, you always want to go to your hands and knees first. And then you can stretch it out a little bit more. However you want to do, find your own routine in your own comfort zone. And Yvonne is going to now come and take us through how a therapist would work on a client. This is Yvonne Butler. She's a massage therapist here in Mobile, Alabama. We both live here, and she's worked with my dad quite a few years now. So Yvonne does workshops with me, and we teach other therapists these techniques. And so Yvonne, take it away.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Butler, as she said, and I do work with the Sacrowedgy. And basically, I'm going to be giving you bones of a protocol that you can do with your clients, and you can add and be as creative as you would like. It's meant to be a help and to facilitate working the psoas and loosening, of course, all the muscles of the lower back. Basically, you'll have your client turn towards you, and you place the wedge in their hands, and you tell them to put their tailbone right about there. And then you come back with the lift, you cover it, and replace their hand, and you tell them to roll over onto their back, keeping the knees bent. And a good visual aid is when you stand at their feet, you can see a little bit of the wedge and a little bit of the color sticking out. Just peeping out, you're right. And so then you can take their knees and rock them back and forth, loosening up the connective tissue, getting some circulation going. Also, this is a good point in time where you can see if they have issues, because generally their knees will fall very easily to one side or the other. But many times as their knees falls, if on one particular side, that they will have like a series of what I call clicks. They'll click, click. Instead of going smoothly, you can tell that that is the side that's going to have more trigger points or more congestion in the fascia. So after you do this for a while, you can do this as long as you like or as short as you like, just until you see that the client is relaxed and resting, and that their body is slowly allowing the muscles to release on its own. You take one leg and,
Which one?
well, first you just rock back and forth for a while, and then now I'm going to go on the other side.